Now the long drawn war between the US and the Vietnam was coming to an end. Now what were those factors which led to peace negotiations between them? You see, you already know that at home front the US government was continuously criticized for indulging into such a warfare where thousands of soldiers of the US Army were killed and where it was proving very costly for the US. Even the aim by which the US had entered into this war had not been achieved. The Vietnamese resistance could not be crushed. That is, if they killed 1,000 of them, 5,000 rose to the forefront and stood against the US Army. The spirit of nationalism, the feeling of love for the motherland and not being afraid of the US mighty power actually gave a big blow to whatever they had thought of. So many of the Vietnamese civilians were killed in this. That means at the home front, it was already being criticized, the US government, for the war was costly and the US soldiers were dying. But the killing of the innocent civilians led to a widespread criticism against the US government in the entire world. Now here, this war in fact was the first television war. Before this, none of the war had been shown on the TV. And when the battle scenes were shown on the TV, the people actually became in favor of the Vietnamese and they openly started criticizing the US Army. People like Mary McCarthy and Jane Fonda, an actress, visited the battlefront and praised the Vietnamese for the courage and determination that they were showing against the US Army. And they praised, and the criticism of the US Army led to a widespread anguish against the US Army. Here, Noam Chomsky, a big scholar of his time, called this war as the greatest threat to nations' self-determination and international cooperation. He said that such a war can lead to mass destruction and can create confusion in the political scenario of the world. Therefore, with so much of wide criticism, naturally the US was forced to sign a negotiation. Meaning to say, the questioning of the government policy led to negotiations, a peace treaty between the US and the Vietnamese. The peace settlement was signed at Paris in January 1974, which means it was an end of the US conflict in Vietnam. But still there was some struggle which had to be continued, and the struggle was the fight between the Saigon regime and the NLF. But ultimately NLF occupied the presidential palace at Saigon and unified Vietnam on 30th April 1975. So that was a big mass struggle, a heroic war fought by the Vietnamese to achieve their independence, as any nation of the world would do, because independence is what we are always looking forward to.